What is up? If you were listening to this, no, this is not a mistake. This is like when you go through the drive-thru and you've already eaten your fries and then you realize they accidentally gave you a second order of fries. We are back with another episode this week of the Just Press Play podcast. Earlier this week we did me, LJ, and Hannah because we had no pops. And Hannah filled in and we talked a little bit of movies. We got into some Disney movies, Disney songs. And we even talked a little 2000 CGI and dove into the rap beef going on with Drake and Pusha T, which it looks like we're going to need an update on that now that Pusha T has slid Drake neatly into a body bag. But now we jump on, Pops comes on with me after we had 2 Game 7s in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. We talk into what we thought about those 2 Game 7s and what we think about LeBron heading back into the finals for his 8th straight year against the Golden State Warriors, who now they have faced off 4 years in a row. Are we tired of it? Are we excited about it? Do we think LeBron has a shot? We get into all of it, but first, Truth, hit the beat. Pops, let's go. So we are down to the NBA Finals after 2 Game 7s. Well, wait. Hold on. I want to get on. We did the Klostion last week. Hannah filled in for you, and we had a really good question. So let's rewind back on over to Hannah.
So let us assume there are 2 boxes on a table. In one box, there is a relatively normal turtle. In the other, Adolf Hitler's skull. So you have to select one of these items for your home. If you select the turtle, you can't give it away, and you have to keep it alive for 2 years. So if either of these parameters are not met, you will be fined $999 by the state. If you select Hitler's skull, you are required to display it in a semi-prominent location in your living room for the same amount of time, but you will be paid a stipend of $120 per month for doing so. But you can only display the skull in an apolitical way. So which one would you select?
Well.
All right, so that is what Hannah, that's the question she presented with me and LJ the other day on the pod. And we were interested. I'll let you know our answers in a second. But we were intrigued to see what Pops would have to say about this.
Okay.
And I will say I was able to give I don't know if you've had a chance to listen, but I was able to give a little insight because I once owned a pet turtle. That was a little normal-sized turtle. So I've been there, done that, and they're a little more of a there's less enjoyment than than I thought. I guess it's about maybe you would assume a turtle can only be so much enjoyment. They're not like a little puppy or anything.
I think I've actually owned a turtle too.
So
way back.
So I gave a little insight into LJ and Hannah, and then we talked about whether we would put Hitler's skull on the mantle. So I'll just toss it over to you. What are you doing of the 2?
Well, I think I know a little bit about turtles. I believe I did have a pet turtle. I remember when you had your pet turtle, and I remembered it was a little. The fun of it was a little over-exaggerated, maybe.
Yeah, and it kind of got nasty, and you had to keep that tank clean, and if you didn't, then...
They can kind of stink, you know, and yeah. So,
with that said...
With that said, plus a turtle is a living thing. You have to keep alive for 2 years, I believe.
There's an expense. You got to get an aquarium.
You got to get an aquarium, you got to get food. Now, if you do Hitler's skull... You do have to display it in a prominent position, but that could be just on the mantle with a light shining on it, or whatever.
Shoot, I didn't even think of light. I was with you. I thought like above the fireplace on the mantle, you just had to have a skull, and it didn't necessarily have to say Adolf Hitler's skull above it. It just had to be there, apolitically.
Well, I think that. Obviously, well, I don't know that it's obvious or not, but I'm certainly no fan of Adolf Hitler by any means.
This just
at all.
in, Dad is not pro-Hitler.
I'm not pro-racist, basically, and he was, and took it to another level, and so, but everybody on earth knows his name, knows who he is. I think I would display a skull for whatever 2 years and get the $120 a month. And you're doing it in an apolitical way, so I'm not suggesting that I like or dislike or stand for or don't stand for whatever he did.
Well, and you can even, when someone goes, what's the skull doing on your mantle there? You can tell them, I have to keep it's Hitler's skull, which one, it is an interesting conversation starter, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And then two, you're like, I'm only doing it because I get a stipend. I get $120 to put this skull here. It's not like
I get $120 a month, whatever.
I got beer tonight. I just gotta have this skull up.
It's beer money, so or one good weekend at the river with a lot of kids there. But anyway,
kids,
well, just no. I mean, kids that are old enough to drink. Kids that are old enough to drink but not old enough to buy.
I guess.
Okay, poor starving college kids. But anyway, I think, and I like turtles okay, but, I just went to the river this weekend and we put Buddy and Prancing Paws, and it's $45 a night for a doggy suite. So a little on the expensive side.
But he's living nicer than I am.
Yeah, no, he is. And so I think I would go with Hitler's skull, for the year. And we all unanimously, that's why we want to see, because I think this is the first Klostion ever been unanimous through all of us. Even Hannah was on board with us. We all decided that we would go Hitler skull over the turtle. And that's why we wanted to note if Pops, because we were calling it unanimous the other day, but technically it wasn't unanimous yet. We still had to have Pops weigh in, and you're siding with us. I just think like a turtle is a living thing, like a pet, like you said. Now you go out of town, someone's got to feed the dang thing. Someone's got to take care of it, and you got to keep it alive. Well, and I guess with his skull, I could take it down and do something nasty in it or something.
Well, I'm gonna leave that there. I don't know where you're going with that.
Well, I'm saying like pee in his skull or something, not something super duper gross, but maybe it was a little pinhead. I hope it was like a little pinhead that had no brain or something. But
alrighty, so Dad's with me, LJ and Hannah. We're all throwing up Hitler skull in the mantle. We're not living with the turtle. Nah, we're kind of dissing all the turtles out there. But let's go ahead and get to. We had two Game 7s on back-to-back nights. As much of the NFL, as much as the NBA has been, lackluster, there's been some blowouts, some not as good games. I don't know if you saw this, but it was the first time since May of 1979 that both conference finals went to a Game 7. What were you doing back in 1979?
In 1979, I was probably in the 9th grade. So
that was the last time. I don't really know who, but that was the last time there were two Game 7s in both conference finals. So it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a little bit of time.
So, and
that's amazing. I didn't realize.
Neither did I.
Wow.
I thought, when I was thinking, just so going into the weekend, we had. We're not going to get into this has sparked a lot on the First Take and all the Fox Sports stuff on the whole debate of who's the GOAT and all this stuff with LeBron's Game 7 performance. But let's just go the greatest player of the past 10 years. And he was going into the weekend, he was playing a game on the road in Game 7 for a chance to go to the finals. And on the other side, there was the greatest team of the last 10 years, the Golden State Warriors, on the road in a Game 7 with the chance to go to the finals. I mean, if you're the NBA, as much as there's been some ups and downs in the playoffs, you can't ask for a much better weekend than that right there.
Yeah, little intrigue. They had to have loved that, absolutely.
So let's get right into it. We'll just start with the Eastern Conference Finals since that was first. And LeBron James, at age 33, I know it's been said multiple times here, but at age 33 in his 15th year, played all 48 minutes, didn't come out once, and put up another great performance. He actually – so I just want to point out that is there any more sure thing in sports than LeBron James is just going to perform when his back's against the wall?
No. I don't know that there is a more sure thing in sports. And I mean, I'm looking at his stat line, 48 minutes, 35 points, 15 rebounds, 9 assists. He's one away from a triple-double. By the way, just something that stood out to me, Kev.
Yeah.
The total amount of assists that Cleveland had, they had only 15 in the whole game. LeBron had 9 of them. Nobody else had more than 2 assists.
I know at one point, and I'm sure there's stats out here. I know at one point, I think ESPN said at halftime, the Cavs players were 0 for 6 on open looks from LeBron passes. Both teams couldn't throw the ball into an ocean. I mean, they were just missing threes left and right. I think the Celtics were. I mean, the Rockets were the same way the other night in Game 7, but just neither team. It seemed like Game 7 kind of got to a lot of the role players, pretty much everybody not named LeBron and Jason Tatum. We'll get into him in a second, but no one else could do anything besides LeBron. And watching that game, it was funny. Every possession that you saw, because there was no time where LeBron took off, as we mentioned, he played the entire game. But every possession that the ball didn't go through him, if Jordan Clarkson came down and tried to run a pick and roll, or Jeff Green tried to run a post up, every time they wouldn't score, and you'd go, the ball's got to go into LeBron's hands. There just was no time for him to rest at any point, especially on offense. He had to. If he wasn't initiating the score, like you just mentioned with their assist, if he wasn't initiating the bucket, they probably weren't getting the bucket. And it's just
I agree. He is the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, you look at it. So this is what, the 4th time they're meeting, right? Which in and of itself is amazing. Mm-hmm. The Warriors and the Cavs.
Yeah, which this is actually the first time in any of the 4 major American sports where 2 teams have reached the championship for 4 consecutive years to play each other.
Yeah. Well, and I got to say, I think this is, and I do want to get into who's going to guard who and a little bit of the lineups, but I think that this is the worst team he's brought with him to the finals. I mean, I'm not trying to get on the other guys, but it's just the least talented team he's had with him. And I'm going to give him, we're not going to get into that because you know which side I get on in the GOAT of all time, but he's played Jordan-esque, okay? I guess I could say he has given everything he's got. I mean, he is a stud. He is solidified as the second best player of all time, and certainly, I can understand an argument that some would suggest he's the best. I would entertain that argument because he is an incredible athlete, incredible guy.
Well, and I wanted to, and we'll get into the matchup in a second, but I wanted to point to, it just looked like at one point in the third quarter, you saw both teams, as I mentioned, weren't hitting their shots. You saw between the combination of Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, and Marcus Smart, they went a combined, those 3, 8 for 43 from the floor and 3 from 26 from 3. Those 3 missed 23 threes. In total, they went 18% on 43 shots, those 3 guys. So the moment was just a little too big, and you kind of saw at one point, because the Cavs players weren't missing shots either. Like J.R. Smith went the first half like 0 for 4 or 0 for 5. Jeff Green wasn't really hitting, but Jeff Green did play a great game. It was really impressive to see him. But you just saw the Cavs players, and I think part of this is because they're playing alongside LeBron James, and that just gives you the ultimate confidence. But in the second half, Jaylen Brown was still shooting, but he wasn't. I don't think he even thought the shot was going in. He was in his own head. He's thinking, man, I can't hit anything. I got to get one. And same with Smart. And they kept thinking, I can't get anything. And the other guys, like Jeff Green's like, if LeBron passes me the ball, 1, I'm open. 2, you just know if LeBron, he's making the right play every time, I'm shooting. I'm not screwing up what he's doing. If he throws me the ball in the open corner, I'm passing down an open look. And then, lo and behold, third quarter comes and J.R. Smith starts hitting a few threes. I think he hit 4 in the second half. Jeff Green hit a few threes. You saw Jordan Clarkson hit a 3, and you just realize it came down to that. It's what you should have expected. Both teams had trouble, but at the end of the day, you just go with the team that's been there and done that. And the Cavs have now been to 4 straight finals with LeBron. Right. I mean, Mr. Finals, making it to his, 8th straight and 9th overall. I mean, the dude is just Mr. Finals.
Mr. F.
That's insane. I heard you say something. I just heard the little first part of the pod y'all did without me where what, 78% of the players in the NBA weren't even in the NBA the last time he was not.
They weren't even in the league the last time he wasn't in the finals.
I mean, that's incredible. So
that's absurd. But
real quick, I want J.R. Smith. I'm not a fan. I wished I could remember what he did the last game I saw. He did something like didn't he do something kind of diss somebody or?
Well, I think you're referring to when the dirty play he had on Al Horford when they got blown out and he pushed Al Horford in the back.
Yeah, when he was in the
going
air
up for a shot. And I will say I understand fouling a guy when they go up for a shot, but pushing a guy in the back, making no play for the ball when he's left his feet is one of the most dangerous plays in basketball.
Absolutely. It is a dangerous play.
It was blatantly dirty. I didn't like it either.
I guess what I'm saying is I haven't seen enough from J.R. Smith that he would be on my team. I mean, I know he can get hot maybe at times, but he doesn't get hot enough for me.
Well, I'll say as of recently, he's been a lot less of the J.R. Smith just jacking him up than the J.R. Smith hitting shots.
He's been cold.
He hasn't, but like you said.
He wouldn't be on my team, and I just remember that incident, and I've kind of looked at his stat line. Let's see, he had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 0 assists. I'm sure that's a line he's used to throwing out on assist. Just not a big fan of J.R. Smith. So, I don't know, I just wanted to mention that. I do I like Tristan Thompson. It looks like he's playing a little better.
Let's go to some of the young guns on the Celtics. And let's just look at Jason Tatum balled out. I mean, he went toe to toe. I wanted to think about this because they had him in the post game. So that dunk he had where he dunked on LeBron James, and then he stood up to the man and poked his chest out a little bit, and I thought, wow.
Now he quickly ran on off.
Yeah, and they asked him after the game, and he kind of at first they said, "What was that when you got in LeBron's grill?" And he at first was like, "What?" And they were like, "After you dunked on him, you kind of got into his face." And he just kind of chuckled. He was like, "Oh yeah." He just said, "I had to get him back because he hit me with 2 step backs in Game 6 and sealed the game. So it was nice to get him back." And I wasn't trying to disrespect him at all. It's just I was pretty pumped. I kind of forgot that I did that until you just mentioned it.
Hey,
but I loved it. I thought Jason Tatum going toe to toe with.
I did too. I loved it, but the funniest thing was the way LeBron looks at him like, "Dude, what? Are you kidding me?"
And then really?
He was.
You're gonna step to me?
He kind of just looked like, "Are you serious?" And then it was like water off a duck's back. He was like, "Okay, give me the ball, let's go." But Tatum I think he's a good kid, and I think LeBron was probably just tickled about it more than anything.
Well, and you saw the moment they embraced after the game. LeBron.
I wished I'd have saw it. I did.
I wish I could be the fly on there just to listen to what LeBron told that kid, because they asked Tatum after the game, and Tatum was like, "Man, I've grown up." Think about this. So LeBron's been back in 2007 was the first time he went to the finals when he took that Cavs team that was god awful and lost to the Spurs. Jason Tatum I believe he was 9 years old during that finals run. So I would say right around 9 is when you really start, if you're a big basketball fan, that's probably when he really started watching basketball. So his whole basketball watching life, LeBron's been the best player on the floor. And now, fast forward, he is going toe-to-toe and really held his own against the best player of his generation. And that's just one, to be in a Game 7 with LeBron would be unbelievable. I think there's some of these guys on the court, when they're 40 years old, they're going to say, "Yeah, I played Game 7 against LeBron James in the Eastern Conference Finals." And Jason Tatum can say, "Not only did I play it, I dunked on him. I mean, I went toe-to-toe." I think Jason Tatum is going to be a player in our league in the next 4 years or so.
I think Jason Tatum, question, is he the best player on the Celtics? I mean, you have to say Kyrie Irving probably is.
I think he's the second best player, though. He's better than Hayward right now.
I think he's better than Hayward. Oh my God, I'd love to have the problem of figured out that lineup next year. What a dream Danny Ainge has in front of him.
I want to look at the Celtics' future too, but
we need to do that. That's a podcast, maybe. It's the Celtics' future.
Jason Tatum jammed all over LeBron, but one young Celtic didn't quite have the same luck when Terry Rozier on the fast break decided, and you could see when Rozier. There was a play earlier in this series that some people were talking about where Rozier was running. He had a step on LeBron, and LeBron kind of you could tell was thinking, I might try to go chase this down and throw it. And Rozier noticed that, I think, and was like, all right, I can't go lay this sucker up. I got to go dunk it. And he dunked it, and LeBron realized and was like, all right, and he didn't even try to contest it. But this time, they're both running, and you could tell, if you're Rozier and LeBron, you can tell we're about to meet at the rim, and somebody's going to win here. And one, I give Rozier some credit for having the balls to go take on LeBron James.
Why not a lot of credit? Give him a lot of credit for taking it up strong.
Well, the only reason I don't give him a lot of credit is because he should have ran to the corner, made LeBron go out with him, and Al Horford's cutting down, right behind him down the middle. He probably would have got it easy too, or a much better look, instead of trying to go up against the GOAT of this era. And it was awesome. Some people tried to, the LeBron naysayers out there were trying to call foul on it. That was a clean block to me.
Wait, time out. I have something to say on that.
Okay.
I know it's probably going to be in the show notes. I saw him hit hand. I didn't see him get any of the ball, kid.
Wait. Up here at the top? When he got ball top, and then hand, but hand's part of the ball. That's...
Did he get ball first? If he did, he didn't get a lot of it. It wasn't. It wasn't a Capella block on. Who did Capella block? KD.
Yeah, Capella blocked KD and just blocked it.
It wasn't that kind of block. Okay.
It was.
I give Rozier a lot of credit for taking it to the man, and LeBron got him. I think it could have been a foul. I do. I'm not trying to wimp out on you.
I think it could have been a foul. I don't think it was. I will say, when I try to discredit him, say it's not the right play, and I still don't think it is. But that being said, if Tatum does mono, because the other one, I mean, if Rozier did, when Tatum dunked on it, was kind of LeBron's trying to help, and he jumped off 1 foot, and Tatum got off 2 and just skied. And it was a great dunk, don't get me wrong, but the Rozier dunk would have been. We both know 10 feet from the basket. We both knew what we're getting into. And let's see. And if he would have got it, the roof literally would have been off of it.
Would have exploded.
The Celtics would have won that game 7. I think it would have been that. So I kind of like him trying to make a statement, and I bet the momentum just goes nuts if he's able to dunk on LeBron. But instead, LeBron, and I don't know how you felt about this. So LeBron blocks him. I don't know if they showed it in that shot I sent you.
Yes, they showed it.
LeBron stared him all the way down the court and really just Terry Rozier went into a grave after that.
Well, I mean, you know what?
I hope that's not the death of his NBA career. But
I didn't think of it from that vantage point. I'll be honest. When I first saw him standing there just breathing, I thought, for a minute, okay, yeah, you're the guy. Then I thought, okay, that's too much. Come on, just go play ball. But if it got in Rozier's head, what part of the game was that? Where
that was fourth quarter, beginning of the fourth.
Was that before or after Jason Tatum's dunk?
Before Tatum's dunk.
Okay. Wow.
Because that was I think I tweeted out after that. I was like, one day someone's gonna go up on LeBron mano-a-mano and they're gonna dunk on him, but that day ain't today. And then Tatum, like 4 minutes later, did dunk on LeBron. I got to give him some credit, man. He jammed on him.
Yeah. So how did you feel about him just standing there just huffing and puffing like the big silverback gorilla? I mean.
Well, I'm a big, I love LeBron, and I defend him a lot, it seems like. And sometimes maybe I'm a LeBron homer. I don't know. But to me, all he hears over and over again is how, first round, oh, he's going to lose to the Pacers. They're barely able to beat the Pacers. And they win in 7. LeBron does his thing. They're like, oh, but now Philly's the favorites in the East anyway. LeBron's team's not that good. They got the Raptors. They can't beat them. Then he sweeps them. And then they go down 0-2 to the Celtics. And it's like, LeBron's not good enough. He's getting old. This young Celtics team. And then he goes against the Celtics. And they're like, oh, LeBron can't do it. He can't win against the Celtics. And these young guns keep trying to come for the top spot. And Rozier tried to challenge you got to beat the best to be the best. And I think LeBron, that was just him saying, look, guys, I'm still here. I don't care if I'm 33. I don't care if I've played 82 games this year. I'm playing all 48 tonight, and I'm winning this game 7. I liked it. I thought it was him just saying, your time's coming, Boston. Tatum's going to be really good one day, but it ain't today.
Well,
I really liked it.
I did, and I take it going back to where the Jason Tatum dunk a little bit. I did look up the size differential between those two guys because Tatum is a slight guy. He is very thin. So they're both 6'8", But Tatum is 205, LeBron's 250, and I think 250 may be on the light
I think that's
side.
cutting it short.
I do too, because LeBron is, there ain't no fat on him. I mean, he is whatever he's packing. He's tough. But anyway, so as I was looking, this was interesting to me. Kevin Durant is 6'9", 240. Kevin Durant's 1 inch taller and only 10 pounds lighter. But boy, does his build look completely different.
Well, that's one thing. Think about how this. Surely, I guess it takes a toll on LeBron. But there was a couple times he would have the ball at the 3-point line, and just he would kind of have his back to it, and Tatum would be harassing him a little bit, and LeBron would just kind of, as the post player does, just put his back into him and really bump him, and Tatum would go back like 5 feet, and you just got to think those body blows hurt. That's a big man just hitting you over and over again, and I don't know what it does to LeBron, but it takes a toll. It looks like it takes a toll on those Celtics.
I don't know if you remember we're talking about. I know y'all talked about those basketball shoes I used to wear. I remember playing at the gym with old Big Fred, and I mean Big Fred was probably about 6'7", and every now and then it'd fall to me to guard him, and I mean he would back you down hard. I mean, and throw that big ass into you, you know. And I mean, that was aggressive, tiring stuff. It wore you down. It really did wear you down.
And I want to give some credit to Marcus Smart for being able to earlier in the game. Marcus Smart, LeBron's got full head of steam, and he's realized at the 3-point line you can just tell LeBron's going to the rack, and he's probably going to either make this or get fouled or get an and one. That's what's going to happen. He's not just going to miss this layup. And Marcus Smart steps in there and just takes a charge right in the chops, and it was a great charge. And I don't know, that's one of the most that's a pretty brave thing to do. Step in front of, as you're saying, 6'8". We'll say 250, but it's probably more like 270 just rolling at you.
Right.
And so I love Marcus Smart. I think he plays hard and he has the chops to do that. But
people seem surprised.
People seem surprised later in the game when he acted like he caught that elbow and clearly didn't. I mean, that's Marcus Smart. If you've watched it, that's what he does. He's gonna flop, and it frustrates me to no end. But I'll still take him on my team.
God, some of them were hilarious. I watched that like top 5 flops of Marcus Smart. And I can't remember one. Somebody threw their hip out a little bit, and he jumps in the air and just. He literally jumps. I'll put it in the show notes. It's great. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. And I like Marcus Smart. He's a tough defender. I mean, he's got a set. I like him, but he is the biggest flopper I think I've ever seen.
And he'll go in. That's why what I like about him is LeBron will go try to post him up, because if LeBron has Smart on him, he's going to try to post him up because he probably has 6 inches on him.
Sure.
And like we mentioned, he's putting. Like Big Fred would do, LeBron's putting all that ass and all that 260 pounds on you, and he's pushing at him. And Smart does not back down whatsoever and gives him as much as he can handle. And I like Smart with that. The only thing with the flopping, I know players flopping, that's one thing. Why do the guys, in your opinion, after like Marcus Smart gets the call, the ref calls it, and still afterward he's walking down the court holding his head like he got like still nursing. He was like readjusting his jaw like he just took one. And they're like, come on, we just saw the replay. You didn't get touched. Your beard might have got skimmed, but.
Well, I don't know why you're asking me. I wasn't a flopper. I mean, I
don't understand it. The only thing I can think is maybe the players are
trying to sell it for next time.
Just let the ref know that, he really did get me. You don't want the ref to go, shit, I just gave him a call, so next time I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, I think he's just keeping on selling it. Is the only thing I could see.
But we'll move to the West. I just wanted to, like you said, Tatum is like he's nowhere near LeBron's size. He still looks pretty slight in build. But LeBron also, if you go look at LeBron rookie year, he was a small guy too. He was skinny. He wasn't near this big. Tatum's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger. Kyrie's coming back. Hayward now will be, I guess, their third best player. They still have Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. And then, get this, Dad. Next year in 2019, they have 3 lottery picks. Most likely, they have the Kings' first pick unprotected, or it's a top 3 protected. So as long as it's within the top 3, which the Kings suck, and if the Kings don't get Luka Doncic, like me and you have talked about with the number 1 overall, then I think they could very well be right there in the top 3, which means the Celtics could add another top 5 pick to this group next year. I mean, that's just insane. Give me Danny Ainge's problems. Give me Danny Ainge's problems.
No doubt.
But let's move to the West. And I was going to ask you, Dad, let's just go to, I felt so bad seeing when the camera would pan over to Chris Paul on the bench. That was breaking my heart. Just his whole career, he's been trying to get to the finals, and finally they have the Warriors on the brink of elimination. The best team, I think, is the best team ever assembled, but the best team in the past, in the 2000s, and they have them on the brink. And they have they have a game at home in 7, and Chris Paul can't go. He has to sit there and watch from the bench.
It is terrible because I don't know that I'm as big a Chris Paul fan as some people, but I do really like him.
I'm a huge, big fan of him.
Well, and like Rosillo, I like to listen to Rosillo, and I know he's a huge Chris Paul fan. And Chris Paul's a solid player. I mean, he reminds me a little about, how it used to be about Chris Carter. Chris Carter he'd get in your face just a little bit, or if he made a big first down, he was going to let you know. I didn't think he was a dirty player. I don't know why Chris Paul threw that elbow in the butt of Kevin Durant. That was kind of weird. But, I do think Chris Paul is a good, solid person and player, and his ability and talent has not gotten him to a finals, and he's that good. He's good.
He's just a player that deserves to have a chance on that stage, and hasn't.
It's not been his fault. It's just not been his fault. He's played well, and I did hate he pulled his hammy because I think y'all talked about it a little bit. What I heard on the first part, but
briefly.
You want to play your best. I want to. If I'm going to beat you, and I'm Golden State, I want Chris Paul on the floor. I want no excuses. If I beat you, I beat you. If I don't, I don't. And I hated it because
at the end of the day, if you look at the Warriors' run, they've had some very fortunate things happen in this run. And back in 2015, when they won their first title, Russell Westbrook tore his ACL when Patrick Beverley went for a steal in the second round. So they played the Warriors with no Russ. Then they played the Cavaliers with no Kyrie Irving. That was when LeBron was playing. There was no Kyrie Irving or Kevin Love, so it was LeBron and Dellavedova.
Yeah.
And then this year they're going against Chris Paul. Or the Rockets, and then Chris Paul gets hurt. So I think the Warriors probably at the end of the day, a ring's a ring, and you can try to discredit you want, but they win. But I think you're right. Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Green, they think they're the best on the court every time they step out, and they'd rather beat the Rockets with the full team. And it just sucked not seeing them out there.
Hey, I don't know if they would have beat them or not, Houston, in Game 7, but without Chris Paul, there was no way. And actually, they played them a little closer than I thought for a good while. But, yeah, I did. I guess I'm like you, Kev. I felt bad for Chris Paul because he is not getting any younger. I mean, he needs to do it fast.
And that's what I just think Chris Paul is at that point in his career, and then we'll move on from this. But Chris Paul is at that point in his career where he realizes you don't take – because like when you're young, when you're Tatum – you kind of probably take these moments the Celtics had in the Eastern Conference Finals for granted because you think, oh, that's my first year. I'll get back. We'll do this again. Chris Paul realizes shit happens. Guys get hurt. Mm-hmm. The Warriors pop up out of nowhere. LeBron goes to the Heat. You might not get another shot. It just every year's it.
Ask Dan Marino. You know that story, right? Like he got to the Super Bowl his second year, and Dan Marino is one of the best quarterbacks that ever played the game.
Maybe the best thrower of the football ever.
Arguably, absolutely, and never got back. So
Chris Paul's at that point where Marino's at late in his career, where you realize every chance is it, and then at the bench he's looking at it going, "Wow, this could be." I mean, I'm 33 and getting older. The Warriors aren't. They're never going to be older than I am. I mean, and he has them right where you need them. Game 7, you have a shot. If you'd have told them before the year, one game to go to the finals against the Warriors, they would have signed up in a heartbeat. Yep. And now Chris Paul has to sit there and watch. It was rough. I want to go to the Rockets. Man, the whole year, Daryl Morey's thing and what they've built this is on. They trust the math. They trust the fact that they're going to keep shooting threes and they're going to keep doing their thing, and eventually they'll fall. And for once this year, they won 65 games, and they were great this year. And it shocked me. I know you thought they could take the Warriors to 7 maybe, and you thought they really had a shot. I didn't even think they had a shot, so they really impressed me. But in Game 7, they trusted the math, and the math just failed them.
Didn't do it, yeah.
They went 7 for 44 from deep, 27 in a row, missed. It was crazy. So listen to this stat. A Sixers analytics guy, Eric Sidewater, he did the math on the Rockets' cold stretch, and the likelihood of Houston missing 26 in a row, a team that shoots 36% from 3 during the regular season, the likelihood of them missing 26 in a row was .00084%. Or, in another word, 1 in 118,757 chances. So, like,
oh wow,
it should not happen. It should never happen. If you want to say you could see this coming, there's no way you expect the Rockets ever to miss 26 in a row. And they were good looks.
I do think that Golden State played some good defense. I mean, they got back quick. I mean, they got hands up on some shooters. But, yeah, that is an astronomical fact that they missed that many in a row. And Harden couldn't find the damn basket with both hands. I mean, it was from deep. Did he hit any threes?
He broke the record for most missed threes in a single series. And he did finally start hitting some, but he still, I think in Game 7 he went 1 for 10, I think, from deep. They just couldn't. It was, and what I saw, and tell me what you thought, it was just they played so well the first half, and they played so well in the first half of Game 6, and they played so hard. They're playing great defense against, I mean, it was crazy. A team that I just have given no credit to defensively, they played amazing defense against the Warriors. And you could just, I think the misses just became legs. Ariza had no legs. He could not hit a three. Because if you watched him on the defensive end, he was giving Kevin Durant everything he could handle. P.J. Tucker was giving Draymond Green everything he could handle. Eric Gordon is giving everything he's got. And then at some point in the second half, it starts to fail him. They don't have the legs.
Capella was amazing in the first half, and then I don't remember him in the second half. I can say that. Of course, I told you I spent a weekend at the river. I did nod off once or twice. I hate to admit that, but I did.
He didn't have a bigger presence in the second half. I think if anything, it's got to give you. It makes you look back to what LeBron did in the Eastern Conference Finals. You just can't. A human being should not be able to go 45 plus minutes playing at that level. You just shouldn't. Yeah. And the Rockets couldn't. I mean, if you look at. We can get into the Warriors in third quarters. I just don't understand how it keeps happening.
I don't either.
I mean, think of so games 1 through 5. The Warriors we already know they're a third quarter team and they're great in the second half. But in games 6 and 7, where the Rockets had the Warriors on the ropes, both games they went up and they had a halftime lead of a double-digit halftime lead, and the Warriors came out in the second half. In the third quarters of those two games, in Game 6, Warriors outscored them by 17. In Game 7, the Warriors outscored them by 18. And in total, in the second halves of Games 6 and 7, the Warriors outscored the Rockets by 59 points in the second halves.
Wow.
It just – wow. I want Steve Kerr – whatever Steve Kerr tells his guys at halftime, I want that to be like my alarm when I wake up in the morning. Just that's what gets me started each day because whatever it is must be good because they come out hot.
I'll tell you one thing, though. I think one thing was just attrition got to Harden because the ball we talked about having the ball in your hand so much. I mean, he's sitting there, dribble, feint, dribble, feint, drive. That you play ball. If you're going one-on-one every time,
it's taxing.
Is tough. And he had to try to play some defense on the other side, and I thought played some good defense in spurts. So
he played some. He had a block on Draymond Green where he did a help defense, and Harden played his. He gave it all. I'm giving respect to Harden. Last year, there was that game 6 or 7 against the Spurs where he just didn't show up, and I really had turned sour on Harden.
I did
and
too.
This year, when there was a lot of opportunities for him to just say, "Well, it's just not in it for us. It's not us. It's just not. It's not in the cards." And he gave it everything he got and went down swinging.
He went down swinging. So I
and that's
agree
all
with you.
I asked for. I want you to go down swinging. If you lose, you lose, but give me everything.
Because I think he thought if we can somehow, they almost needed to get lucky, but if they could have got lucky and won that game and get Chris Paul back, I mean, they're going to win. Whoever comes out of the West is going to win, I think. I mean, you still got that guy
LeBron has
on
a
the
better
Cavaliers.
chance. Yeah, there's still that guy. I think he has a better chance against the Rockets, but you got to think Harden's thinking, man, if Gerald Green can get hot, if one person here in the fourth quarter can get warm, and we beat them, we have a good shot at winning this day. Chris Paul is going to probably be back at some point in the finals. Even without Chris Paul, from top to bottom, it's a better roster on Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a taste of the championship of the finals, and I give him respect. He did everything he could, just wasn't enough. He just didn't have enough to beat the Warriors. And did you notice some of that officiating? The Warriors got some calls in that game that really was off to me. There was a couple calls in the
There were
first
two
half.
calls. I do remember.
There was one
that
where Harden went up for a three, and he did it. It's this patented thing And the Warriors do it too, where if you reach your hand in, they're going to go up and they'll swipe through and shoot.
And they gave him no foul.
They gave him the foul on the floor. They
wouldn't give him.
And the first one was Kevin Durant, and he hit it. He got a 4-point play. And, I mean, it's clear. All year we've seen that called a 3-point shot.
Yeah, I didn't get that either, Kev.
And then later in the game, they did the same thing, didn't call it. And it was weird. The Warriors had that same call go their way in Game 6. And I don't think it's not, the people that are going to go, the NBA's rigged, blah, blah, blah. There's no way the NBA would rather have, I think, the Warriors and Cavs. And I think the outside world would rather see a new face in the finals. But so I don't think there's any credence to the rig thing. But
everybody I knew was rooting for Houston, just I guess because we're closer to Houston, but also they wanted something new. They're just something different. It's like ho hum. I think your future contender or whatever Beetle even said ho hum. It's fourth time we're going to see this.
Yeah.
So
and then there was a couple plays and. Me and my boy Jardy were talking during the games, and I don't know what a moving screen is in the NBA. Sometimes they'll call one, but for the most part, they're just moving around. There was one where, and it'll get to me why I think Steph Curry is so important to this team, but Steph Curry passed the ball to Jordan Bell and then kept running, ran by him, and Jordan Bell blocks. He, literally just blocks the guy out of the way. I think it was Harden.
No doubt.
That's got to be a call. I don't understand how that's not a call. And, of course, Curry gets a good look in the corner. You don't even have to see the play. You know it's going in.
Yeah, he was in that corner by the bench over there, wasn't he, I think? And he blocked. You're right. I mean, it was a left tackle block. It was
Tyron Smith on the Cowboys. He just blocked him.
It was clear. So what was the final score in the game?
The final score ended up being, I think, a 9-point game. The Warriors won by 9.
Well, but that didn't Harden make one of those? Those one that should have been called a shooting foul.
That's the thing.
And they didn't give
was
it
in
to
the third. There was 2 in the third quarter where one at the early would have been a 4-point play with Durant, and they gave it to him on the floor, and they end up not scoring. So that's 4 points lost. And again, I know it's easy to look back, but just in a Game 7 of this magnitude, every single play counts. And then another one was late in the third quarter when the Warriors were on that run that they always go on, that you knew it was going to happen. But Harden gets the call. And it should be, all right, now we can slow the game down, basically get a free timeout and get 3 free throws, which Harden, we're not going to say he's guaranteed to make all 3, but he's making 2 out of 3. He's a 90% free throw shooter. That slows down the run. Those are big plays. And especially a team like we talked about, they're only going 6 deep. To get Harden to have time to just breathe on the free throw line and get a little breather and also get 3 points and kind of stop the run, stop the bleeding, those are huge. Each one of those are big-time calls. And then on the other end, so you don't get the call there, and on the other end, you got Jordan Bell blocking out James Harden on a 3-pointer for Curry. It was weird to see. I don't think there's anything about the NBA's rigged. It was some calls that didn't go the way of the Rockets. It happens in every game, and it's tough.
I agree. It was peculiar, and I don't think the fix is in. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it was peculiar. And if I was a Houston fan, I would be upset about it.
So the last note I really have, the last 2 little things I have from this, and then we can go on to the finals. But like you said, Clint Capella, I know he disappeared a little bit in the second half. I think you're right. But that first half, man, I know I was texting you, and you told me to calm down a little bit because I said it's at the dream out there compared to Hakeem Olajuwon. Yeah. I know he wasn't playing that good, but he was just playing out of his mind, dunking on people and blocking people. And I kind of think the Rockets aren't going to have him much longer because his contract's up this year, and I think either the Mavericks or the Suns, they got a bunch of cap space. Someone's going to throw that guy a max contract, I think.
I don't know if he'll get a max, but he's fixing to get money.
He's going to get some.
Way.
Okay, and now I don't usually defend Draymond Green. He normally annoys the piss out of me, but there was a play where Draymond Green blocks James Harden. Good block. It was kind of help defense. And then Draymond Green, and the way they kind of tripped over each other, Draymond Green ends up like running into Harden and almost like standing over him. And his man area was all up in Harden's face. And I don't think Draymond Green was doing it on purpose. It's just the way they were falling. And so Draymond Green tried to help Harden up. And he put 2 hands and gave Harden hands. And Harden, everyone gave, afterward, he slings his hands to the side. He kind of pushed him aside like, whatever, screw you. And everyone gave Draymond Green crap because they were like, oh, look at Draymond being another punk, just doing it again. But if you rewatch that, Harden was kind of being the punk there.
He was being the punk.
Draymond Green got a bad rap for that. He deserves most of the bad rap he gets. Don't get me wrong. He does a lot of punk stuff. But Harden was being the punk.
Well, because he was trying to help Harden up, and Harden was kind of letting his ass slide on the ground and not, if he would have put his feet in the ground, he would have helped him up. But he's not. It's like, well, hell, okay, bullshit. Then don't get up.
I mean, it was identical to when I was a little kid. You're trying to get me to go do something I don't want to do. I'm just going to pout and sit there on the floor. That's what Harden was doing. And he wasn't.
Doing exactly.
And Draymond Green was just trying to help him up. And then finally, Draymond Green's like, well, shit, all right, screw you too then, and threw his hands to the side. And then Draymond Green got a bad rap for it. I was like, come on.
What's amazing, Draymond Green helping somebody up from the other team. That's just really not his deal.
Well, because I think he was like, I respect the hell out of y'all are balling. Like, you're giving everything here. Let me help you up. I'm not trying to do anything disrespectful.
And I don't know that Harden was completely trying to be disrespectful, but I can see where Draymond Green was kind of like, well, dude, I want to help you up, but if you don't want to get up, and just, I can see that, just throwing his arms away. I don't think Draymond Green did anything wrong there.
Yeah, it wasn't. I'm not getting on to Harden at all. I don't think Harden was maybe being disrespectful because you assume Draymond Green's just trying to be a dick because that's what he does. But I just thought Twitter erupted, and then even the sites stuff the next day was like Draymond Green's a punk yet again. Checked out this video. I was like, watch the video. He's not being a punk.
Yeah. I'm with you, Kev. I disagree. Draymond Green was cool there. It was not his problem.
But so let's go on to, did this Game 7, did the Rockets show you a chink in the Warriors' armor that maybe the Cavs have a shot, or what is your thoughts heading into the finals? What's kind of your...
I think as long as, who is it that says, Mama, there's that man,
Mark Jackson.
As long as LeBron James is on a team, yes, they got a chance because he is that
He's
kind
the
of
best player on the court.
He's the best player on the planet. And
so we don't have to go LeBron Jordan, but I think we've seen LeBron is number one, and number two is a distance behind him. Last year after the finals, people tried to say Kevin Durant might be as good as LeBron or better. LeBron's the best player on the planet.
He's the best player on the planet now. The combination of KD, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, who I'm telling you, Klay Thompson is the shit. I mean,
the fact that you go down to the fourth player and Klay Thompson's the fourth guy you mentioned on that team is amazing.
Klay Thompson is because he is scores mentality. He gets that ball and he goes right up.
All right, so Dad, I was watching the game the other day and I thought, is Klay the best player? He's the best player I think since I've really been watching basketball, but the best player to never be the best on his own team. So. Robin. He's probably the third best at best on this team.
Yeah, really, he's the third best in this case. But
would you say you've watched more basketball in your era, in your day? So is Klay Thompson the best player to never be the best on his own team?
No.
Or just second fiddle? Okay, let me hear it.
No, he's not. And the one that I think comes to mind for everybody is going to be Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen.
That's the one that I thought. I didn't watch him nearly as much, honestly.
And no doubt, he came to my mind first, but I think I'm going to have a couple that'll throw you. I've got 5.
Well, does Scottie count? He was the best player on his team for 2 years when Jordan took his sabbatical. That doesn't count? Okay,
yes,
okay.
He counts. No.
Pippen's a top 50 player of all time. He's legit.
Exactly. He was a top 50 player of all time. No doubt he was legit. Maybe if things would have been different, he might have been a complete stud in his own right. But he was anyway. But he will always be Robin to Jordan's Batman.
Did LeBron ever have a Robin that good?
Nobody's coming to mind. I think everybody hoped Kevin Love would be that guy, but he's just not. No, he's not close.
I think that should go into the argument of the GOATs of all time. But let's stay where we're at. Let's stay with our second fiddle. Who else you got for me? I'm sorry I had to bring it up.
You know who immediately came to mind is, and this was probably a little before your time, was Joe Dumars.
Okay.
Joe Dumars to Isaiah Thomas. I'm telling you, Joe Dumars was
a Hall of Famer.
two-guard. He's got to – yeah, he was an amazing ball player. And I can't remember where he was from, some small college. Nobody thought he was going to be all that good. And obviously Isaiah Thomas, I'm not the biggest fan of his, but he was a great baller. There was just no doubt he was a great baller.
He's from McNeese State University.
McNeese State in South Louisiana, yeah. Crazy. But so Joe Dumars came to mind. And so then I was trying to think of a few more, and I actually Googled something up, and so I got to give a little credit to a guy, Josh Martin, with the Bleacher Report, is what I Googled it up, and it came up. And here's some others that he had, and I certainly agree with the next one was very interesting. James Worthy. James Worthy was a second fiddle to Magic Johnson for a long time, and Big Game James, as he was known, could really bring it home. But he Magic, and a lot of that was Magic getting him in the ball at the right place at the right time. But so James Worthy was on Mr. Martin's list. Another one, and I was trying to think of who would have been Larry Bird's. Who would have been Larry Bird's second fiddle? Do you even have an opinion? I know you didn't watch a lot of him.
Mikal is the first person that comes to mind, but didn't Mikal come off the bench?
No, Mikal. Okay. I don't think so. Mikal was a starter. He was like a power forward, and he played underneath. His game was dip, dive.
Was there's Parrish, Dennis Johnson.
Robert
Mikal would be the guy,
Parrish,
right?
They had Dennis Johnson at the point, who was good, and they had another. Well, was it Cornbread Maxwell and all those guys?
The three that come to my mind that I really remember were Parrish, Dennis Johnson, and Mikal. And I obviously didn't watch them, but from all the documentaries I've watched and what I've read, Mikal's that guy. He was the second player for him.
Mikal was really amazing. I really enjoyed watching him play. And then the next one that this guy had, and I never saw him play, was Bob Cousy. So that would be to Bill Russell. I never really watched Bob Cousy play. I've seen some highlights, and I think he was really all that in a bag of chips. But Bill Russell, is in the argument for best of all time. And I didn't rank these. Actually, I think the way the guy ranked them, I think Joe Dumars was his 5th out of 5. But, boy, I watched a lot of basketball then because a lot of that was Jordan and the Bulls playing Detroit to get out of the East. Dumars was incredible. So he is a Hall of Famer?
Yeah,
I don't know that I realized that, but he certainly deserves to be. So I don't know. I thought that was plenty second fiddles.
I was trying to think of guys in today's game, and I mean the first person that came to my mind was like, okay, Kobe was a second fiddle to Shaq, but then he became the best player on his team. So he comes out of the I think that's why you're bringing up who you brought up. Like Dumars was always the second to Isaiah, right? He was never his own.
Right. But Kobe and Shaq were just two studs. I mean, they were probably like, to me, D. Wade and LeBron. I mean, maybe you could say Bosh was Robin to those two Batmans. And I think LeBron was the best player.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know. I don't think a D. Wade is a second fiddle, maybe because he's had such a career.
Well, I think that's why you don't count. The way I count it is a guy who has never been the guy on his team. D. Wade was definitely the guy on his team for years. I mean, 7 or 8 years. And Klay, do you think you could build a team around Klay Thompson? Like if he were to leave?
I don't know. He
does catch and shoot a lot.
He's a catch and shoot guy. He can handle the ball. But he just seems a guy that's going to keep cutting, moving to the basket, going around picks, getting open, and he gets rid of the ball fast. So I don't see Klay Thompson as a guy you can build around, but boy, would I want him on my team. I would absolutely want him on my team.
Yeah, I love everything about it. It's interesting to me the lack of love it seems like he get for how important he is to that team. He guards the best perimeter player, and you talk about spacing. Nobody spaces the floor better than a Klay Thompson, just because. Like, Curry shoots as well, but I think Curry can do it off his own dribble. Klay catch and shoot, how fast that thing gets up. Really, if you're Kevin Durant, you need to go watch Klay Thompson film and watch how he moves without the ball. And because he can score,
exactly.
As we've mentioned, he can score 30 because they're catch and shoot threes or layups where he back cuts someone. He just moves so well. And if you're Kevin Durant, if you can go get 20 points like that, and then in the fourth quarter or third quarter when everyone needs a break, if your fourth option is ISO ball with Durant, now that is a hell of an option.
One more thing on Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
When you were saying that, it kind of reminded me when Klay Thompson gets the ball off a pass usually, because it's, again, you're right, he's not making his own shot with the dribble. He's cutting or whatever, even at the three-point line or in the paint. It kind of reminds me, I think he's a finisher. It reminds me of Kyrie Irving when Kyrie Irving's got the ball going to the basket. I mean, he's just going to make it. And I feel like that when Klay Thompson gets a good look, it doesn't take but just a second, but if he gets a good look or he gets a pass, I don't care if his guy's right on him, he's going to turn around and flip it into the back. I mean, he's a finisher.
He is, and it's a catch and finish too. he's able to catch a ball and he always knows where the rim is. It's really interesting.
And he can make it. I thought
I love him.
I'm probably getting off on a little thing here, but when he should have come out of the game. Kerr should have got him out of the game when he got that quick 2 fouls, and he was like, "Oh, I got this," and then he got another stupid foul.
That was a dumb foul, that 3-pointer.
The third one was a stupid foul.
And he ended up, what was that, 3 fouls in 2 minutes, like the first 2 minutes of the game? That's rough.
That was rough. And that's what can happen in a Game 7. So I said, oh, my gosh. You get Klay Thompson out, you got a chance. Anything can happen in a Game 7. I think that's why the shooting was so bad, because those young guys, there's got to be a lot of pressure. And I think it was Charles Barkley was talking about the pace of a Game 7, or Kenny Smith. I don't know if you saw this before the game. He's like, I talked to my big man. Do you want me to get you started?
I thought this was great.
This was really good.
Was
He's
awesome.
like, do you want me to get you started, big man, or do you want me to you want to conserve some energy till the end of the game, and then I'm going to come to you? What do you want? And I thought Barkley was very astute in what he said. He goes, there ain't no pace to a Game 7. It's give it hell.
And Shaq said the same thing.
Shaq said
was
the
like,
same thing.
No, we got to go. He said you got to give it hell from
It's
the
go
tip
time.
to
It's go
you can't
time.
give it no more. I thought that was so cool when Kenny Smith said he would go to Hakeem Olajuwon and say, do you want to get the ball early, or do you want me to try to assert myself and you be ready in the fourth? I thought that whole thing. That's why we're not going to get too big on it, but the TNT, when the games are on TNT, man, it's just better than when it's on ESPN.
Who's got the finals?
ESPN.
Yeah, so they're done.
They always do. ABC, yeah.
Okay.
I just love it. It's not even the announcers, because I like Reggie Miller. I know a lot of people don't. Chris
like
Webber,
Reggie Miller.
I could do without Chris Webber. But the Inside the NBA crew, I will stay up and watch that after the game. I'll turn on I'll schedule my TV to watch it before the game. I love watching Chuck and Kenny and EJ and Shaq. It's great.
Yeah, I
But
do too.
let's get on to what we think. So you were talking about the
Well,
Warriors and the Cavs.
yeah,
You're not going to
tell
count
me-
out LeBron because he's
No,
LeBron. But
tell me a little bit. What is so Kevin Love's in concussion protocol. Look, basketball is not a contact sport per se. I don't understand why they have to go through the same. Are they going through a same concussion protocol as NFL?
Well, with what we know though, a repeated shot to the brain can cause. I'm okay with him sitting out if he has a concussion.
Well, I don't think I mind him sitting out if he's getting headaches, if lights bothering him, and I don't know what the protocol is, I guess I should say. But I would think a basketball player could come back a little quicker. His concussion protocol should be a little quicker than an NFL concussion protocol. But how long does it last, Kev?
I would say he'd be back by 1. I don't know for a fact, but I would assume. But interestingly, on your point, LeBron took that shot to the head against the Celtics in Game 2, I think, and I don't know if it was LeBron saying this or the Cavs saying it, but no one even mentioned the word. It looked like it could be a concussion because he kind of looked rattled. No one mentioned it. There was no way that LeBron was sitting out this game.
Yeah.
It just
moving right along. All right, but so another injury thing. What's Iguodala? He's got a contusion, which is a bruise. It must be a very severe bruise.
A contusion's a really deep bruise, and it was in that knee, and he hasn't played. He's been game time decision both games, so I assume he's game time decision again Monday night, or Thursday night when they play in the finals. But
plays really good defense on LeBron, and they're gonna miss him if he can't play in this series. I do think that makes a difference. So, I don't know. I was wondering about the status of the injuries. There's no other big injuries we need to be concerned about, is there?
That's it, really. Those are the injuries. Everyone else seems healthy. LeBron's just got to go just ice them legs down for the next 3 hours. He needs to go get in a hyperbolic chamber. But yeah, there's no injuries.
Well, I don't think if it goes 7, it doesn't go 7. I think that the Warriors cannot let it go 7. So I think it's the Warriors in 6 is how I think it's going to play out.
I think it's probably Warriors in 5.
Maybe 5, but
I just don't. There's just, you look at top to bottom of the roster, there's just no way. And it's kind of what you mentioned. So what the Warriors can do, it's funny. So we've already mentioned the top 4 guys, and we thought it was crazy that 4 is Klay Thompson. The 5th guy, Iguodala, who may or may not play, is a Finals MVP. He won Finals MVP their first time they won it.
Yeah.
That's their 5th option. And I think it's huge what you're saying, where The Warriors can throw Iguodala, who's a great defender, on LeBron. It's going to make LeBron work for everything. And when Iguodala gets tired, they can throw Durant on LeBron, who's a good defender. He's long. He has some length. He's really improved his defense. And then when he gets tired, they still have Klay Thompson, who's 6'7", really good defender, going to make LeBron work. When he gets tired, they can throw Draymond Green, who's going to make LeBron work. All these guys can keep giving him effort. For Durant, who's the only guy on the Cavaliers that can guard Durant? There's one. And it's
LeBron, right? Because I was thinking, I would kind of want to go through the matchups. Who's going to guard who?
You're throwing Korver on him? You're throwing J.R. Smith?
Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson.
Jeff Green? None of them.
Thompson doesn't have the leg work, does he? He just doesn't have the feet work.
No, he's going to have to stay down there with Draymond Green on the block.
Yeah.
There's nobody. That's the thing. Like, LeBron's got to go. He's got to be the best player on both ends of the floor for 48 minutes. And Steph Curry, or the other guys, like Steph Curry, he can take a play off on defense here or there. Or Kevin Durant can let Iguodala take LeBron, and I'll go guard Korver in the corner. Which, how much energy does Korver really take from you guarding him in the corner? You have to keep an eye on him because he can hit, but
well, I mean,
you're not fatiguing yourself.
Whoever Korver's got, if he's got somebody of any stature, he ought to be running through picks, running, trying to wear them out. But I agree. The matchups just don't work in Cleveland's favor. You've got LeBron against four potential Hall of Famers. I mean, seriously. So,
and I think when it's all said and done, Iguodala is not a Hall of Famer. But when it's all said and done, his career is going to be one that is serious. You just look at the matchups. Besides LeBron, I think the Warriors win the matchup in every other position.
Yep.
At any point in the floor. And that's just why I don't think it goes – like you said, though, you never know. That's why you play the game. And that's why LeBron, I think, gives all this effort to get to the finals. And that's why I love where he's at in his career, where he won't – like we mentioned back in 2010, we mentioned this on an old podcast where he quit on the Cavs when they played the Celtics. And I think you see that LeBron doesn't do that anymore because he realizes if I can get to the finals, maybe Draymond Green kicks someone in the nuts and is out for a game and we come back from a 3-1, or – maybe Steph Curry rolls an ankle, or maybe you never know. Well, and if he gets to a Game 7, I'm taking 23 in Cleveland.
In Game 7. If KD keeps running that isolation ball offense crap.
Thank you. Let's talk about it.
I don't know what he's doing. And they had that little scene they called of Steve Kerr running behind him like move the ball. And the story that he told him that we read in the Jordan rules about, I think Phil Jackson had told Michael Jordan, that you got to make that first pass. Trust the guy to hit the shot. Just trust him. And why did Kerr even feel the need to have to say that to KD? I think something's going on with KD. I really do. I don't think he's on top of his game.
Well, so what's really weird to me, and I love where you're going with that, because he left Oklahoma City so he could get out of. It's what Bill Simmons he called this back in OKC the toilet bowl offense, where they just go Westbrook ISO, Durant ISO. And Durant is, like we talked about, the Rockets are ISO ball. Durant is the best ISO player in the world. It's so hard to guard a guy that's 7 foot, 6'9", whatever you want. He looks close to 7 foot to me. But it's so hard to guard a guy like that can put the ball on the floor like a point guard, that can pull up. I mean, all you can do is contest his shot. You can't stop him. But that's why the Oklahoma City could never get past the Warriors, because at the end of the day, when the Warriors start moving the ball around, it gets Steph going, it gets Klay going, it gets Iguodala going, it gets everyone hot. And that's why I think you see in the third quarter, every time when they get hot, what happens? Steph Curry blows up. It's never Durant gets really hot in their big third quarters. Mm-hmm. It's always Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Because watch the game. And it's like that moving screen with Jordan Bell. Even though it was a moving screen, you see it. The next possession, they did it on the other side where it wasn't a moving screen. But Curry passes it, and it's so fascinating. Actually, Tim Legler pointed out one of these on ESPN. I love Tim Legler when he does his Scott Van Pelt segments. But he pointed out where when Curry passes it, a lot of times you double. So he can beat you off the dribble, and he gets in the lane, and so that makes two people collapse on him. And then he'll pass it. And so a lot of times initially, and you've hooped, when your man passes, that's your minute to kind of, you take a sigh of relief, right? Okay, Curry didn't beat me to the layup. You take a deep breath.
Shouldn't do it with Curry.
Doesn't stop though. He instantly he'll sprint afterward. So if he kicks it to Jordan Bell on the short corner, he'll sprint down the baseline behind Jordan Bell. And now all of a sudden, if you take just a second to breathe, he's got a look from 3-point in the corner, and he hits it. And then if it doesn't hit it, then you're having to rotate everyone else, and now Klay Thompson's open at the top of the key.
But KD playing that ISO ball stops all that. That's why
it stops everything. It turns it into an ugly game. And if you turn it into if somehow the Cavs can do what the Rockets did and muddy up the game and make it that ISO ball,
they've got
I'm
a
taking
chance.
LeBron an ISO ball, and I'm taking him trusting his teammates over Kevin Durant, because we just saw it reminded me eerily of. So I rewatched for the 10th time the
Really?
Mavericks run.
Seriously?
Yeah, I rewatched their run to the championship because it was interesting to me. Really, the reason I rewatched it was because every team, you don't see very many teams win a championship where there's one star. It's Shaq and Kobe. It's Tim and Manu and Tony Parker. It's the Pistons when they had like 5 really good players, or the Warriors with this team. So for the Cavs to win it, it'd be LeBron. I think it's LeBron. Love's good, but he's not on the level of the other stars in this series.
Agreed.
And the last team to do that was my beloved Mavericks, when it was Dirk and a bunch of really good role players. They played well. And so I tried to rewatch, how did that happen? How did they beat a better team? And it was just they muddied up the game. And at the end of the games, you saw LeBron and Dwayne Wade, instead of swinging the ball around and moving their just fast-paced, awesome offense, they just would go, all right, D-Wade, you stand in the corner, LeBron's turn. All right, LeBron, you stand in the corner, it's Dwayne Wade's turn. And when you get to that style of offense and you get to a team like Dirk, you're gonna run it through him, but they know how to. The other players like Terry know how to play off of Dirk. They know how to do that because that's how they've always, their whole career's been playing off the star. Curry doesn't play off a star. Durant doesn't play off a star. They've always been the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't do it as well. And I just think if the Cavs can somehow muddy up the game and make it that 87 to 85, 90 to 90 game instead of the 115 to 110, because if it gets up in the hundreds, the Warriors blow them out each game by 20 because they're too quick, they're too fast, they're too good.
Well, Houston's defense gave them some fits, and you could see when all of a sudden those arms were getting in the way of those passes that usually are just so beautiful and slick through, and everybody's just sailing and going. It kind of made them edgy, I think was the word I heard Steph Curry use, that they got a little edgy in one of those games because their usual just stuff wasn't working. So I don't know, things can happen in a series, but I don't think Cleveland's got the horses. We will I hope there's some good basketball. I'm going to watch the games for sure, but I could see a lot of what we saw in Game 6 and 7 in the Western Conference Finals, where the Cavs they're only going to be able to go probably 6 deep, maybe 7 deep. Yeah. And
if they play good, they're going to have to play balls to the wall, and I just think they'll start fatiguing in the third quarter, and the Warriors can just keep throwing guys in there. And
if not in the third quarter, in about the fourth game, they're just their legs are going to be gone. So,
but you never know.
That's why they play
the games. If LeBron can somehow do it, it's why you play. If LeBron can, if he can win this finals, it's going to be huge. I think it kind of offsets some of his, in the big Jordan LeBron argument, I think it would offset some of those losses to beat a team of. Mm-hmm. I think this would be the biggest upset maybe in sports history if he can beat them in a series and not just a one-game thing. Yeah. But I just don't see it happen. I think Warriors in 5. I think it's more likely to be a sweep than it is to be a 6-game series in my eyes.
I know. I got you. Could be.
I hope not, though. I hope I was wrong. I said the same thing about in the Western Conference Finals, and you said 7 games, and I was so glad to be wrong. I hope the Cavs can force the 7th game. It'd be tough.
Yep, I'm with you.
Oh, real quick. I wanted to get on. So those were the shoes that we mentioned in the beginning of the pod earlier this week.
Yes.
That I mentioned that LeBron was wearing in 2002. Mm-hmm. Was I right? Are those the same shoes? I believe those were the same shoes that you own.
Exactly. I mean, I didn't know. I don't know that I knew. No, when you tweeted that, I do think you said something about Pops used to play in these. So, so I saw them, and I had to zoom in on them. But there's just no doubt those are exactly that pair of basketball shoes that I wore for a long time. I remember because it had an insole in it that had a red Reebok kind of logo on it, and it'd get my socks red because you would sweat and everything, and my socks would be red, right on like the ball of your foot, or maybe it was the heel. Hilarious. I can't remember, but I would have a red spot on all my basketball socks. So those were the shoes.
It was funny. I saw that picture, and I just thought it was a cool picture because it's some of those guys so young. But then I saw the shoes, and I kind of thought those look a lot like the shoes Dad used to wear, and I zoomed in, and I thought, I'll be damned. I think those are the same. I think Pops is lacing up the same thing that LeBron was lacing up in 2002.
Well, now, and I heard you guys kind of allude to the fact that maybe I wouldn't let y'all run the air conditioner, or maybe y'all would go hungry some nights. Come on now. There wasn't like y'all went hungry for my basketball shoes or anything. Jeez.
No. But I will say, I wonder sometimes why I like shoes so much, and I think the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because you were apparently on your shoe game back in the day.
Oh, I loved them. My favorite pair of shoes ever, though, were my original Air Jordans, those white with the orange on them.
Really?
Oh,
you had some original J's?
Yeah, man, I was balling in those things. And you talk about now, those Reeboks, I might put them on and get in my car and go to the gym. Those Jordans, they didn't touch anything.
They touched the gym floor. That was it.
The gym floor. That's what our carpet at the house. I mean, sometimes I just wear them around at the house, but those
things were meant for hardwood only.
No concrete on those things. They were not rain driven. I promise. They didn't get rain driven.
All right. Well, I think that does it for this week. Fun week we had. If you haven't heard, we had Pops wasn't able to get in with us last week. He was too busy having just a dang good old time this weekend. And so Hannah joined us, the voice on our intro. She joined me and LJ, the beautiful Miss Hannah, LJ's future wife. She joined us to a pod, and we got into all kinds of stuff. It was fun. We talked Disney movies. We talked rap beefs. It was a little bit different, but it was fun. And then
I'm worried if y'all are going to want me back. I mean, I haven't listened to it all yet, but it was going pretty good. So
I think Hannah needs to come back on. Anytime she wants to come on, she's willing. She's ready. I think she was good.
She was good.
But
yep.
That'll wrap up this fun week. A little double week. We had extra, so I hope the finals are good. I hope we go 7, Dad, for this week. Sign out.
No. All right. Peace.